It's starting to draft without a door on. That's pretty good. What do you think about that? Is it throwing heat like a 90-mile-an-hour fastball?
It's throwing heat like 90 mile an hour.
So I've been wanting to make a wood stove out of an excavator bucket for a while. I actually wanted to do that in my barn before I built my other one I made a video on, but I couldn't find the right bucket for it. But me and my buddy have been slowly collecting pieces and parts for this. I actually ended up with an extra bucket, but that's another story. But this is going to be for his barn. We're going to make a wood stove out of it. This is a 36-inch bucket, and it's got a little bit extra depth in the back. A little more than this other one. That's what he wanted. So I'm going to start by probably cutting this track. We're going to make a stand out of this dozer track. Get it on a stand, and then figure out where we want to wall it off and all that other good stuff. Alright, so we got those cut and the bucket's sitting on them, and we decided that it looks kind of silly. We want to cut a longer track for under there. That's 6 pads long. We're gonna cut 9 and then play around with it. Just looks a little goofy. We're also not sure about the height. We might shorten the track height a little bit. That's 20, what is it, 22 inches?
22 inches.
It's 22 inches, so we'll play around with that too. We're gonna put it on 9 pads before we cut the height though. So it's the next day here. We got a little snow, but we got it on the 9 pads. I think that looks way better. The bucket's so big, it looked goofy with that smaller stand. So I think we're gonna go with that for now. Still not sure about the height, but we can always cut that down later. We're gonna leave it for now. So the next step, I'm gonna tack, put a pretty hefty tack on all those pads underneath just so they don't move around while we're doing the rest of it. And then we gotta try to cut out this top plate. It's kind of doubled up here on the top. They have this shape up here, and then this plate under here is kind of capping it for whatever reason. So the plan is to cut out this part of the plate and see if we can bend it down and use that as our baffle. So then the smoke's got to roll up and around that, and then the exhaust pipe will be coming out here in the middle. So let's get to doing that. The little Kubota engine here does not like the cold. See how it starts. It's only like 30 degrees, but come on, come on. There you go. right, so we got that plate cut out. We didn't realize that this is an extra beefy bucket. It's got those plates welded in there. So we had to cut those notches out just to get it out. I think we're gonna take this completely out and put a new plate in because it's all cut up now. We were gonna use it for the baffle, but it might be easier just to put a new plate in. We got to cut those out because the exhaust pipe's going to go through the middle there, and those are going to be in the way. I got that hole cut and the pipe in. Got a little greedy on the side there, but I'll have to fill that in. For the most part, it's fit pretty good. Some gap there too. Could have done that better, but whatever. So I'm gonna get that tacked at least. Try to get it sitting level with the rest of the stove. And then probably cut out a new baffle plate and weld that in. Figure out what angle to weld that in. So I got a layout of kind of what we want to do. This baffle plate is going to end here and tie back into there, and then this is going to be the front plate outline here. So that's, I think that's 4 inches. So you have 4 inches all the way up across the front where the exhaust is going to be able to go under, up and around that baffle plate and out the exhaust there. Got it laid out. This is 1/2 inch plate, should be plenty thick. And the bucket's tapered, so I got to taper both ends for it to fit in there. doing a little preheating before we start welding. I'm just kidding, we got a little impatient. Thought we'd start a fire in it. So I got that baffle plate cut and tacked in. And you can still see the outline. We still have to put in that outside face plate is where that soapstone line is going to be. So it'll be all the way up there, and you'll have the 4 inches all the way across the top for the exhaust to roll up and out. It's coming together. I think I'm going to end part 1 here too. There's still a lot to do. The next step is to figure out our secondary burn system, the air wash, the blower system, heat exchanger. There's still a ton to do before we can close off this plate, because it'd be really hard to do anything after we close it up. That's going to be the last step, this front main face plate, and then we'll figure out a door. So stay tuned for part 2.